Imagine if you were stuck in this cycle of falling into the nightly dessert habit, falling into the nightly wine habit. You keep blowing through your calories every night, and your coach was like, well, you just need willpower, or you just need to remember how badly you want this. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Sweat Simple podcast. My name is Brooks Herbis, and I'm an online fitness, nutrition, and mindset coach who's here to help you simplify and make sense out of the all too confusing fitness and nutrition industry. Let's be real, there's a lot of conflicting information online, and it can be hard to know what's legit and who to trust. In every episode, I'll be sharing the science and psychology behind health, fitness, and long-lasting behavior change. But I'll also be sharing real-life practical application, because all of the best info in the world only matters if you can actually apply it to your real life. So grab a coffee, water, glass of wine, or lace up your walking shoes, and let's dive in. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to the Sweat Simple podcast. Today, we are talking all about how to break that I deserve a treat cycle. And maybe you're falling into this every night, or maybe it's every Friday, where you feel like as a reward, because maybe it's been a stressful day, or maybe you feel like you've crushed it with, your nutrition all day, or, life is just stressful right now. You're kind of winding down for the night by saying, I deserve a little something. And, I actually laugh because I resonate with this. I feel like it's a trend even on social media right now where people are like, I deserve my little treat, or if I'm running late, I'm going to get my little treat, whether, it's a Starbucks drink or the piece of chocolate or the glass of wine, whatever it is. We're very much about treating ourselves right now. And, I want to start with some reflection, because that's not always a bad thing. Treating ourselves is not always a negative thing. Having a little treat every night doesn't have to be something we do change. Treats and emotional eating in general are almost always talked about in a negative frame. We always assume that if we have a sweet tooth, it's a bad thing. If we're eating out of emotion, it's a bad thing. But really, emotional eating can be a positive thing too. And if you really like ending your day with a little sweet treat or that glass of wine or whatever it might be, I'm here for it. To be honest, most nights I have a little sweet treat myself. I love having a little cookie after dinner or a little ice cream, whatever it is. I just really enjoy it. And I think we forget that too, that sometimes we can eat things because we enjoy it. Sometimes we can emotionally eat and it not be a negative thing. We don't have to eliminate every quote unquote bad behavior that we have. We don't have to change our behavior. There's always the option to not to. I personally don't feel like my sweet treat habit every night is an issue. I don't have problems with moderation. I don't feel like it's ruining my physique goals. It's definitely not impacting my overall health, because the rest of my diet is 90%, very healthy, nutrient dense foods. So I don't feel a need to change this little nightly treat cycle. And I want you to just take a pause and assess if maybe that's true for you too. Maybe you don't actually want to change this behavior. Maybe you don't feel like the behavior is negatively impacting you. The only time that we want to think about getting out of this cycle and changing our behaviors in general is when you start to recognize that that behavior is no longer in line with your long-term goals and values. When having this treat every night is no longer a habit that you want to have. So, for example, actually one of my coaching clients earlier this week was noticing that she was falling into this cycle of I deserve a little treat every night, and it came to a glass of wine and cheese and crackers. And that glass of wine, those cheese and crackers, those were really like her me time, her stress relief at the end of a long day. But at the same time, she has goals right now to lose fat and to start to decrease her alcohol consumption. And by having the glass of wine and the cheese and crackers every night, she was, one, having alcohol, so doesn't really, help that overall goal of decreasing alcohol during the week. And then two, the cheese and crackers were typically causing her to not hit her calories, which isn't helping her reach these overall body physique goals. So this is something that we're now working together to help her change. Now, if she had said, like, you know what, I really like using the wine and the snack as my stress reliever, and that is how I want to unwind at the end of the day, then it's not a habit that we really need to change. But because this habit is no longer working towards her long-term goals, because it's something that she does want to change moving forward, because she wants to relieve her stress in other ways, then it is something we want to start to change. So maybe for you, it's that sweet treat is causing you to blow through your calories. Maybe like that client, you want to limit your alcohol consumption because you know it's not great for like your health and your sleep. Maybe you're going to bed feeling overly full or just kind of like meh. Whatever it is, know that we don't have to change these behaviors, but once you've recognized that you do want to change these behaviors for whatever reason, that's when it's kind of game on. So how do we do that? How do we go about breaking this I deserve a treat cycle? First things first, we have to identify why this is happening. Why are you in this cycle in the first place? Behavior change is not a one-size-fits-all approach, and truly, depending on why this habit is happening in the first place, that would determine how I work through it with you as a coach. And just to put it out there and be honest, this is why a coach who's giving you more than just calories and macros is so beneficial, and why it's extra beneficial to work with someone like myself who's certified in health mindset and behavior change. Because imagine if you were stuck in this cycle of falling into the nightly dessert habit, falling into the nightly wine habit. You keep blowing through your calories every night, and your coach was like, well, you just need willpower, or you just need to remember how badly you want this, or they tell you to just like go and brush your teeth after dinner. Those things don't help you with long-term behavior change. So if this is the kind of support and coaching you're looking for, something that takes it one step further and helps you identify why you're falling into these habits and how to overcome that, you can apply for one-on-one coaching in my bio. And it doesn't lock you into anything, just, gets the combo going to see if you would be a good fit for my program. But that is truly the first step to changing the behavior, is thinking about why it's happening in the first place. So some reasons that it might be happening to kind of start to get the wheels turning for you is stress relief. Are you using it as a coping mechanism at the end of the night to kind of feel like you're unwinding and releasing some of that stress? Is it an automatic habit after dinner? So every night after dinner, you just have that sweet treat. You don't even think about it. Sometimes you don't even realize you're eating it until after the fact. Are you restricting yourself all day, not allowing yourself to have either not very much food or really no foods that you enjoy? So by the end of the night, you're hungry and unsatisfied. And maybe it's not even one of those three reasons. Maybe it's something completely different. But first, you need to identify where it's coming from, because all of those things, whether it's stress relief, an automated habit, whether you're restricting yourself all day, those are going to require a different approach. So first step, we need to figure out why you're falling into this cycle in the first place. Now, yes, those all require a unique approach, but obviously, because I'm just speaking to you right now, we can't have a back and forth conversation. I'm just going to give you a general technique that you could use for each of these moving forward. So once you've identified why it's happening, I want you to create something that's called an if-then plan. And basic premise is, if X happens, then I will blank. And the reason that you're in treat yourself mode is is essentially like a hurdle. And the best way to overcome a hurdle is to plan for them. And most of us are really good at planning for best case scenarios, but you probably never think about what to do if something goes quote unquote wrong. So we're really good at saying like, I'm going to hit my calories every day this week. But we forget that during the week we feel stressed, or we always want a treat after dinner, or we feel really hungry at the end of the night. And those are all moments that we need to plan for as well. So right now, if your plan is, well, I just won't snack this week, that's amazing until one of those hurdles pops up. So we need to plan for the hurdles and create that if-then plan. What this might look like with some of those examples is, let's say you're falling into that nighttime treat habit because you're feeling stressed. Your if then plan might look like, if I feel stressed after work, then I will go for a walk. We're replacing that treat with a walk or some sort of other healthier coping mechanism. Or if I am craving chocolate after work, then I will portion out one serving and put the rest away. So if you're struggling with moderation, this could be a good example. You're allowing yourself to actually have it, but you're planning out exactly how much you're going to have, and you're planning out that you are going to put the rest away. Now, the goal here with the if then plan is to get specific, and specific to what you are usually struggling with. So what's the hurdle that is usually coming up for you, and how can you plan for it? Again, we need to be specific. That is the key here. It is not enough to have these vague plans like, I just won't snack, or I'm going to use willpower. That hasn't helped before, so it's not going to help you now. So get really specific. When you get that urge to snack, when you get that urge to have your little sweet treat, how do you want to navigate that moving forward? Plan for it. Then, super simple, we're just going to repeat steps 1 and 2 over and over and over again. There are some misconceptions that as soon as we decide to change our behavior, we are going to forget all of our old patterns and we are just going to be this brand new person. Unfortunately, it does not work that way. I really wish it did. But the way to change your behavior is to practice the new way that we want to be over and over and over again until that feels like the new automatic habit. So you won't be perfect at this right away. You will still have nights where instead of going for the walk like you planned, you reach for the treats or you reach for the wine or you whatever it is. But the goal is that you keep practicing the new way more and more and more so that feels more automatic. So that when you feel stressed, soon it feels second nature to go for the walk, to do a 5-minute meditation, to read a book, as opposed to reach for the chocolate, reach for the wine. So we won't be perfect right away, but the more reps that you get in, the more ingrained this new hobby is going to be. The new habit is going to be. So to recap, in order to get out of this cycle, we first need to identify if this is even a behavior you want to change. Is that important to you? Is this nighttime treat habit even impacting your overall goals? Then we need to identify if you've decided it is something you want to change. We need to figure out why it's happening in the first place. Then we need to come up with that if-then plan. And remember that it is really important to get super specific with it. So, as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I always appreciate you being here, listening every single week. And don't forget, if you want help with some of this longer-term behavior change stuff, because you guys, it is complicated stuff. It is hard work changing habits and mindsets that you have had maybe your entire adult life. I would love to help you work through that. You can apply for one-on-one coaching in the show notes, and I will see all of you next week when we are talking about the fastest way to fat loss.